Hey everyone, welcome to Grave Sound. My name's Chase, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made a monster voice in Ableton. Alright, so here we are in Ableton Live. This is where I like to do all of my sound design, but you can pretty much do everything I'm going to do in any other DAW, as long as you have similar plugins. Real quick, let's give a listen to the dialogue.
What does it look like? What is that? Why haven't you told anyone about our talks?
So our goal is to turn the dialogue into a scary, ethereal monster voice. So what we're going to want to do first is to select all of our tracks and transpose all of these down about 6 semitones. We don't want to lower it too much so that we can still understand what's being said. The other thing we also need to make sure to do is change our warp mode here to complex. With complex mode, it's a bit more useful for things that are, well, complex. So we're going to be using that. Let's give a listen to what we got.
What does it look like? What is that? Why haven't you told anyone about our talks?
All right, check. We've got the deep voice. So the next thing that we're going to want to do is add in a bit of a monstery growl, and that's what this track over here is for. Let's give it a listen. So what we're going to want to do is select our vocal track here and then bring in our vocoder. What we need to do in order to set up our vocoder is set our carrier. Our modulator is going to be our vocals, and the carrier is going to be our growl. By default, it's set to noise, which is cool, but not what we want. Let's set it to external, and then we can use our growl. Let's give that a listen. Make sure that you have your growl track disabled, because that's already being fed into the vocoder, and we're going to be able to hear it. Well, it's not quite what we want, but it's close. We're getting a little bit of that grit, but it's a bit too much for our needs. So what we're going to want to do is adjust some of these parameters. We're going to bring down our dry wet to about, let's go about there. We're going to adjust the release so it's a little bit quicker, so it drops the amplitude levels. And then the next parameter that we're going to adjust is the depth, and this is how much the modulator is feeding into our carrier. Let's give our track a listen now.
What does it look like?
Okay, so now that we have our vocoder kind of set how we want to hear it, all we have to do is just make sure that we have growling going on at the same time as our dialogue. So if you can achieve that, it's fine. We don't have to worry about doing any crossfades or anything. It's not going to do much for you.
What does it look like? What is that? Why haven't you told anyone about our talks?
Sweet. The next thing that we need to do is make it sound a bit more otherworldly. So what we need to do for now is print this into another audio track, and we're going to make our new audio track, and then we're going to set it to resample, and we're going to solo our dry vocals here, set this to record.
What does it look like?
Perfect. That's all we need. We can minimize that, deactivate those. Okay, before we do anything else, we need to make sure our gain is good here. We have a lot of really high amplitudes and a lot of really quiet stuff here. So to fix that, we're just going to throw a bit of a compressor on there. So let's do that.
What does it look like? What is that?
Okay, so all we're looking for is to squash our audio down so that we have a nice even amplitude.
What does it look like? What is that? Why haven't you told anyone about our talks?
Sweet. So the next thing that we need to do is just separate each line of dialogue by quite a bit, because we're going to be placing a reverb on there. But before we put the reverb onto these tracks, we need to reverse these. We're going to give it a reverse reverb, and we're going to print all of this into our next track. Let's grab our reverb here real quick. Here we go. And the one that I've used is a spacious. Yeah, it's just, we're just going to bring down our dry wet and give that a listen real quick.
How good is it? No.
Good enough. Okay, so let's go ahead and print that into this next track here. Solo here. And
how good is it? No.
Okay, when you do that, just make sure that you record that tail end of the reverb. Perfect. Let's go ahead and just minimize that there. Okay, and then what we need to do is take this and reverse these clips. Deactivate that. All right, let's give this a listen.
What does it look like? What is that? Why haven't you told anyone about our talks?
Sweet. We're going to just shorten the reverb on all these just a little bit. And then we're going to come over here, just right click and create a couple of return tracks. And we're going to set another reverb into one of them. And then we're going to keep this all the way up on the dry wet. And what we need to do is just tab over to our mix window and send some signal over. Let's go ahead and give that a listen.
What is that?
Okay, let's bring that down a bit.
What is that?
Cool. Sounds good to me. All right, so for our other return track, we're going to put a delay on there. And the only parameters we're going to mess with are boosting up our dry wet, adding that ping pong effect. It gives you a little bit of a stereo image. And then we're just going to filter out quite a bit here. And that will be it for our delay. We're going to feed some signal in. Okay, let's give that a listen just as is.
What is that?
Okay, so that's a little bit more of a long delay than we need. So we're going to bring the feedback down just a bit. And then we're also going to bring the level of the delay down by a bit. Okay, let's give it a listen.
What does it look like? What is that?
Cool. And I guess the only thing I want to do to this is just bring the feedback down a little bit more. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Let's give a listen to our final product here.
What does it look like? What is that? Why haven't you told anyone about our talks?
All right, so this is pretty much what was used for the short film proof. I'm going to leave a link in the description. You should totally go and check that out. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for today's video. If this helped you out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have more coming out.